All right, so far we have the most basic structure of our HTML document. We have this line here that says it's HTML5, so that way it knows how to read the document. And then this part here says start reading HTML at this point and end reading HTML at this point. So everything else that we're going to create is going to fit between these two. All right. So the next bit that we need to put is we're going to break down the document into two major sections, okay? There's the head and the body. All right, so the head is it's a bunch of extra information for this web document, but it's not something that the user necessarily directly sees. Typically, they won't see anything that's written inside the head section. The body is the section where that contains all of the elements that are our that the user actually sees. It's actually in the web page. So, you know, pictures and text and links and all of that goes inside the body. So for right now, we're just going to do the head section, and then the next thing we'll do the body. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit tab to tab in, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to type in head. Boom, like that, and then I'll hit enter. Okay, now the reason why I tabbed it in is this. By tabbing in, I can tell that this lines up to this, right? And even if you click on it, see how it highlights the one underneath? If I click on this, see how it highlights the one underneath? So that way, when it's tabbed in, they line up, and also it's nested inside of this, which means that this is contained within this, okay? So now what we're going to do is we are going to write our head elements, okay? So if you didn't, let's just do this. There we go. Okay, so if I enter, notice it automatically tabbed in for me. If it wasn't tabbed, just make sure you tab it in, because now I'm going to put elements inside of my head tag, and everything that's inside of here will be contained within the head, which is contained within the HTML. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to write out our title, okay? So we're going to go like this, and then it's title, boop, like that. And then we're going to write, you can write your name, but I'm going to write Cone's biography. Okay, so what the title is, it's literally the title of the page. It's more or less, I would almost explain it as the name of the web page. So when you have, when you open up a web browser and when you look at the top and you have the tabs, this is where the tab name comes from. This is what you see. So each one of those tabs is defined by the title. So this is the only part of the head that the user actually does see. So that's the title. And you would just want that to be whatever the page that makes sense. So if I'm doing a typical website, right, I might have like home might be the name of the index page, and then the about us would be called about us, and then contact would be contact, and so on and so forth. So the title should make sense with what the page is. All right, next what we're going to do are a bunch of meta tags, okay? So meta tags are, it's metadata, right? It's extra information about the page that basically gets written, that gets read by the browser, by the search engine, but not by the user, okay? It just allows them to have extra information. And they can be any number of things, and there's very many of them. I'm just going to write kind of the typical ones that you would see if you were to like look at somebody's webpage, okay? So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do meta is the name of it. Then we're going to do char set for character set, and we're going to do UTF -8 like that, okay? And what that does is it says, okay, so it's a meta tag, and then we added this, I hate that, we added this, doesn't let me hover over it. We added basically this property to it that allows us, that defines what type of characters we're going to be using, all right? So obviously, we're going to be using letters and numbers and then occasionally some special characters. So that way it knows when we write our code out, it's using those types of characters, okay? And there were ones, UTF is kind of the standard, the UTF-8 is the standard now. It allows for basically all characters in the world. Previously, they only went up to like 256 or something, and then like 128 before that. Now it's very, very many. I don't know what the number is, to be honest, offhand, but it's a lot. So that just says the character set. It's just a typical thing you're going to see. honestly, even if you omitted it, it's still going to run fine, but it's a good idea to define it by default. Okay, next one we're going to do, we're going to do another meta tag. And this meta tag is going to be name. So we're going to write some custom ones here. So we're going to say name, and I want to define, we're going to say a description, okay? And then we're going to put the content of this description is going to be all about John Cone's life. Okay, that's what I want. That's what it's going to be. All right. Then we're going to do another meta. Oops, got to write it correctly though. Okay, meta. And now we're going to add another property here, and we're going to go ahead and call it keywords. So the keywords, the idea here is that if you type in like Google or Bing or Yahoo or whatever your favorite search engine is, and then we'll do content. These are supposed to be a way of defining, like, if they type in doggy, it will, it should put my, like, that's what my site's supposed to be about. Okay, so this is obviously about me, so I'm just going to put things about me on here. So I'm going to say handsome and smart and cool guy. Right? That makes sense. Okay. Anyway, so so if they search up those keywords, it's gonna pop up me. So then what we can do is we'll do another one. Keep forgetting to put the meta or meet, either way. Name, and we're gonna do author, and then content, and we're gonna say your name. So I'll say Jonathan Cone, and then we will do one more. And this one won't make any sense right at the moment, but later on you'll understand why we need it there. I'll describe it in more. Oh, not that one. Sorry. Oh no, we do want name. Name equals, and then it's going to be viewport. Content will be width equals device dash width, comma, initial, I missed it, initial scale, got a hyphen that, sorry, scale, equals 1.0. Okay, which doesn't make any sense to you. Basically, this just helps, especially when we start doing responsive web pages. This will actually scale it correctly. It'll set the initial sizing of it, and then it knows how to scale from there. So it's just an extra thing that you throw in there. I wouldn't worry too much about it at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see more of it at a time. All right, so just as a review here, we have now placed the head, right? And then this is all the extra information for the search engine, for the browser, for various things, right? That could potentially read this information. It just gives it extra stuff. And we define what the title is, what character set we're using. We make a description about it, some keywords, who the author is, and setting up an initial viewport settings. Okay. Hopefully that all makes sense. So now we've got a basic structure. Next up will be the body.